Yes, everybody. Russ, the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. Happy Monday. It's going to be a scorcher. It's going to be a scorcher for the next couple of days. It was bloody hot over the weekend as well. Hope you had a lovely weekend as well. Plenty of SPS 50 on the old noggin, as you could imagine. But I think, just say it quietly, I think we might see some movement, some transfer movement this week. Just saying. And potentially even some new kits. So it could be a busy week for West Ham when it comes to transfer rumours and stuff like that. But one name that still is on our sort of agenda of players to leave is Mohamed Kudus, of course. And it does seem, in my humble opinion, that the options are dwindling for Mo. We are led to believe that there hasn't been necessarily a concrete interest, concrete offer as such. Tentative offers and, bits of paper pushed across the table, but nothing concrete, so to speak. We know that in terms of the interested parties, Spurs are interested. We know Arsenal's interested, or they did show interest. We know Chelsea were interested. We know Newcastle were interested. Liverpool held an interest, and that's not including approaches from the Saudi Pro League. Now, according to recent sources, is it called Neom? That's the air diffuser that we use. Saudi Pro League. Is it called Neom? Yeah, Neom. That's what we use. That's what we use as our air diffuser. Anyway, there's a sentence and I thought I'd say on the West Ham channel. But new Saudi Pro League side Neom apparently have an interest in Mohamed. Although Mo has said that he wants Champions League football, he doesn't want money. When people turn up and offer $300,000 a week, tax free, people change their opinion. I think the club are hopeful, and the club are encouraging movements from the Saudi Pro League because obviously due to the sort of release clauses, Saudi is £120 million. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to that, to be honest. But they are backed by a number of big players in terms of money, and they are looking to take their place alongside the sort of big four like Al Ahly and places like that out there. So, they're making some big waves over there, so to speak. And I wouldn't be surprised for them to make an offer or to have some sort of registered interest. Now, let's park that one because I think it's more likely that he's going to be, he wants to stay in the Premier League. Ideally, he wants Champions League football. And so, realistically, you look at the sides that are there or thereabouts at the moment. Chelsea, according to David Ornstein yesterday, it looks like they're going to be signing João Pedro from something like £70 million for Brentford. Brighton, rather. They're also in talks with Grittens from Bayern, Borussia Dortmund, Jamie Grittens. So, yes, Mudryk obviously is not there anymore now because obviously the doping at the moment, and he's been found guilty of that. But I just can't see them spending another £65 million on someone like Mohamed Kudus. Unless there's some serious outings. We know they obviously didn't make the Jadon Sancho deal permanent, and they paid, I think it's a £5 million penalty for that with Man United because it was an option, not obligation. Was it obligation to? Anyway, they were meant to be paying £25 million, and now they're only paying £5 million, and basically handing him back. So I've got a feeling that I just think, like, to be honest, out of all those clubs, those Premier League clubs, Chelsea, my preference, in all honesty. I just can't see it happening now. They're spending in other positions. You would think João Pedro at 70 million, Kudus at 65 million. I think 70 million for João Pedro is a lot of money, to be honest. But yeah, strange. Arsenal, I just don't think at the moment that. I mean, I just don't want him to go to Arsenal, to be perfectly honest. I don't want them to be our feeder club. We we know that there's a number of players they're looking at all over. That obviously, Zubimendi is someone who has who's apparently very, very close, so they're finalising it. So they've met the conditions of £51 million release clause for Zubimendi. So I think that is probably the door shut for Mohamed. Possibly not. Will they spend another 65 million quid? Because that's what it's going to take minimum to get him. Man United, I just think maybe Man United, they can't offer Champions League football, which is something that obviously Kudus would want. Let's talk about the other North London club. They can offer him Champions League football. They've got a new manager in Thomas Frank as well. They obviously put a tentative inquiry of £50 million, which we sort of dismissed out of hand. Last time he went there, he had a fight and got a 4 or 5 match ban. So, yeah. And then we look at Newcastle. Newcastle's an interesting one. They're obviously in the market for a sort of a winger / forward player. We led to be believed that they were trying to put a bid in for João Pedro, but it looks like they've missed out on that. They've put in a £45 million offer for Anthony Elanga. So for me, Newcastle seems, and also there is a potential of Anthony Gordon maybe going to Liverpool potentially. Alexander Isak doesn't go away as well in terms of those rumours. I mean, obviously he seemed to have, Pedro seemed to have snubbed Newcastle for Chelsea. I'm thinking more and more now that actually Newcastle could be the best option. They will be in the Champions League as well, and we know they've got money. We know they've already put a bid in for £45 million for Anthony Elanga. We know they've been trying to bid for Pedro as well. So they must have a couple of quid on the hip. But it does seem his options are dwindling. Now, we know that Mo would, what we're led to believe, would favour a move to London, stay in London, then move up north. But, I just don't want him to go to Spurs. Because we know he's going to go and he's going to be an absolute game changer. They're playing in the right position. Now, could that happen at West Ham? Possibly, with the players around him, the right players around him, with a different mentality, new season, new starts. But as I said, he hasn't pushed for a move. He's, if the move doesn't happen, he has changed managers. He has changed agencies as well, which does indicate a willingness. He did the same thing after he got the move to West Ham. Then he changed his manager for his brother. Then he's dumped his brother, and now he's got Rofin. Whether he's of something fantastic footballers or it stands for, it's really sort of shitty and acronym. But they are dwindling, and there's no interest from any other leagues really. There's no interest. I mean, La Liga haven't got no money. La Liga, nothing from them. Bundesliga, something like Dortmund, if they're getting rid of Grittens, if he's going, then maybe they would want to. Obviously, they just laid out for Joe Bellingham, so Bayern Munich. But then Nick Woltenwald, he looks like he's gone there, and they're dwindling. They're dwindling now. The sort of the fly in the ointment is, based on last week's news, we don't have to sell Mo to start buying players. The club, the board are going to be putting the cash injection in. But obviously, they might need to. As I said, I think I do see it as a payday loan. I don't see it as, oh, there we go, there's the money. I'm not saying if we sell Kudus, we get that money added to the pot. That's not going to happen. I can't see it happening. That's going to still, player sales will be to balance the books. But yeah, it is. They are dwindling by the day, and there's no one's come knocking really for Mohamed just yet. Whether they are waiting, I mean, is it the 1st of June for 2 weeks? The release clause. Why such a weird release clause from the 1st of June for like 2 weeks? I don't get why it is, but then all you're doing then is basically it's going to cost you £85 million if you're a Premier League side. That's the minimum release clause for we would accept unanimously without obviously having to, negotiate. And I just don't think, it's not worth 20 million quid waiting. If you can get him for 65 now, get him for 65 now. I don't get it. But anyway, let me know what you think. It's for me. It's probably out of. I mean, Newcastle would be the one I'd probably want him to go to out of anyone. If it was London based, then it'd be Chelsea. But I think Newcastle, and you can just imagine him and Isaac. Fucking hell, that would be awesome. Anyway, we'll have Russyb rating, the original rumour rating at lunchtime, going through the latest rumours. I'm expecting a big week this week. Well, we should be announcing tomorrow Daniel Cummings. I imagine that would be alongside one of the new shirts as well. That's what tends to happen. Obviously, then our contract with Betway would have finished on the 30th, or finishes today, and so the new contract with Boys Sport starts on the 1st of July. One of the reasons why they haven't been able to put out the kit yet is because technically we still are sponsored by Betway until midnight tonight, really. So that's one of the reasons why that hasn't happened. Although I get the sponsorless shirt anyway. I just think it always looks better. Anyway, take care and stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, stay cool, stay hydrated. Let me know in the comments below if he has to go to anyone, who's he going to, and do you really care as long as you get the money? Interesting, because I think some people just like, if he's going to go, get the money, move on. If he's going to go, then as long as it's not Tottenham, I don't care. Much love. See you soon. Bye bye.